Absolutely. And can everyone see
No,
my
no, no,
screen?
no, no, no. Please, first I will make introduction and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I will
yeah.
deliver stage to you. Sorry.
Sure.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, perfect. Yes. Just I hope my screen is visible now, right? You see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. And we are, let me check once again. We are lively streaming. Yeah, perfect. Yes. Hello everyone. Welcome to our Power BI meetup. It's great to see so many, familiar faces joining us today. Our session is titled Let's Build a Copilot Agent Together, and we'll dive into how you can create intelligent, assistants using Microsoft Copilot Studio, even if you have never written a line of code before. And I'm thrilled to have you all here, and I promise this session will be engaging. Let's explore how AI can make our daily workflow smarter and more efficient. And this event is designed for anyone curious about building AI assistants that can help automate routine work, answer questions, and or guide users. I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker, Rafsan Huseynov, who is a Microsoft MVP and AI solutions architect with over 14 years of experience across manufacturing, supply chain, fintech, and IT. Rafsan specializes in building scalable AI solutions using Microsoft technologies like Copilot Studio, AI Builder, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and Azure AI Founder. I hope he will be giving the necessary info about himself in next minutes and a little bit about upcoming speaker. I would like to highlight our upcoming speakers like Zoe Douglas, Maya Shenhoff, and Linda Larkin, who are working on behalf of Microsoft. And each of them brings unique expertise in AI, Power BI, and data storytelling. And we are looking forward to continuing this learning journey together. A little bit about Meetup rules. This session is live streaming on YouTube and is going to be recorded and will be available on our Meetup page afterwards. We'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end, but feel free to post your questions in the chat throughout. And please keep your microphones muted during the main presentation. After the session, we encourage you to follow up on the Meetup page and share your feedback, and it really helps us improve and plan future events. This is our session schedule. The first 5 minutes that is related to introduction that I'm doing right now, and then I will deliver stage to Rafsan, and at the end we'll have Q&A session. Let's make the most of this 1 hour session and learn together how to bring AI-powered automation into your daily workflow. Last but not least, before delivering stage to Rafsan, I want to thank you. Thank everyone for joining us today, and I hope you will enjoy this session and want to keep learning. Connect with us through our Meetup page. So if you would like to be speaker for next meetups, you can contact me via this email address or with the cell phone number that you see on the screen. Let's welcome Rafsan to take us through the magic of building your first Copilot agent. Stage is yours. Rafsan, I'm going to stop
Yeah,
sharing
I
and I'm
appreciate it.
going to record. Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Let's build a Copilot Studio agent together. This is a beginner level trainer. So if you curious about learning more advanced stuff, I have a YouTube channel. You can also watch there. Everything is free. So um, let's start. The agenda will be like a high-level information about what agents are and what are the benefits and why they matter now. So because this is very important, you probably hear a lot about agents. Then we will deep dive into introduction to Copilot Studio, and we will have a demo. We have a built-in solution. So typically, I actually do live development, but since this is a very limited hour for me, so I'll just do basically demo of existing solution. So before I kick this off, Ilgar did a great presentation, but overall I'm a dual Microsoft MVP for Copilot Studio as well as M365 Copilot. So what I do, I architect AI solutions using Microsoft AI platforms, helping customers to get the most out of AI solutions. And you can connect me on LinkedIn and subscribe my YouTube channel. So I want to kick this off with a really great quote from Peter Drucker. So knowledge is the source of wealth. Applied to tasks we already know, it becomes productivity. And applied to tasks that are new, it becomes innovation. So I hope at the end of this session, you will have something new so that you can apply to your existing tasks or new tasks. So let's kick this off with understanding agents. So the agents in the context of AI is basically smart software systems using large language models. So again, like these are applications, but what makes them different, instead of line of code, this time we're using large language model to process these workloads. And we can, using agents, we actually extend the large language models capabilities by giving them access to tools, and tools will be here connectors or model context protocol or plugins and so on. Because if you don't give access to agents, how they can perform actions. The other one is knowledge. So we know that large language models has its own pre-trained data, but in enterprise case, we don't want that. We want AI to use our own enterprise knowledge. So that's where we actually connect to our enterprise knowledge. And the last one is instructions. We basically scope large language models answers to what we exactly need by giving system instructions, defining every tools, defining every knowledge, so that agent knows when and why call each of these components. And if you look at any custom agents that you develop in Copilot Studio, there are key components that we need to understand. The number one is the orchestrator. This is the brain of any AI agent. So this basically sits on top of agent and decides when and why invoke each tool. And tool could be, let's say, your Outlook connector. Tool could be your SharePoint connector, or knowledge would be coming from Fabric data, etc. And that's basically generative orchestration. That's what makes Copilot Studio very powerful. Then each AI agent can have its own UI. So in Copilot Studio, you can have UI, or you don't need to have a UI, because if it is customer facing, you need this UI so that people can interact with the agent. But autonomous agents, you don't necessarily need UI. They work at the back end. Foundational models. Every agent needs large language models. So in Copilot Studio, you have some flexibility choosing some large language models like GPT-4o, GPT-5, and etc. This basically, every model has specific functionalities and pros and cons. So when you build agent, you need to decide what kind of large language model to use. An agent can have its own knowledge sources. So basically connecting your own knowledge source, now you help agent to reason over your own content rather than using its pre-trained data or web data. Skills. Now you can add more components to your agents to implement the tasks. And autonomy. You can give autonomy to your agent, meaning that you don't have to all the time to interact with your agent. It can work on behalf of you by triggered by external events. For example, when an email arrived, when someone submitted the form, these kind of events can trigger the agent. And last but not least, your agent can connect to other agents. Under your parent agent, you can create children agents dedicated to specific tasks, or you can connect to agents built on the same environment, or you can even connect to agents built on Azure AI Foundry, Fabric, as well as agent built using Microsoft 365 Agent Toolkit. So if you look at the spectrum of agents today, typically, what we see in the industry, we build retrieval agents. This basically connects your data and reason over, summarize, and generate output for the end user. There are some easy win use cases like connect to SharePoint, but there are more advanced retrieval agents, for example, pulling data from vector-based data, databases. And task, so this takes the retrieval agent to the next level. So it not only retrieves information, but this time you can actually perform more actions. For example, write data, delete data, modify data in your source. And autonomous agents, as you guessed it, these perform on behalf of the user autonomously. So you configure it, and this works like magic. So, and benefits of AI agents, let's be honest, like since we started seeing the ChatGPT style applications, it's just so great that business users now can interact with these applications by using natural language. So they don't have to learn SQL, they don't have to understand complex queries. They can just open this application and just in natural language, hey, I need this data. Boom, within seconds, all the data retrieved and you can use it. And synthesized insights. So in today's data, the problem we have is we have too much data and they are siloed. They are, in different sources. So as a human compiling all this data and generating insights, it takes a lot of time. So that's really good use case for AI. AI can pull data from multiple data sources and compile it and generate insights. And the last one is automation of repetitive work. So we also have a lot of repetitive work like copying data, pasting data. AI can do all of this. So, and if you look at today's solutions, if you look at the Microsoft AI ecosystem today, so you'd see Microsoft 365 Copilot. So this is basically individual level Gen AI tool. It says add-on service. You basically have M365 plan, and you can have this as a separate service. Your admins basically buy it. You can really buy yourself, and then you can use it within different M365 app experiences, for example, using Copilot and Teams to summarize the meetings, to get the list of actions, using Word, Excel, etc. You can also extend M365 Copilot by using Copilot Studio Lite experience. This is no code experience. And you can also go all the way to Pro Code solution, which is using Microsoft 365 Agent Toolkit. But how about building enterprise-grade agentic solutions? So Microsoft Copilot Studio is a dedicated low-code platform to build these kind of solutions. So it enables makers, architects, developers to build custom agents using low-code interface. By the way, if you are a Pro Code developer, you can actually connect the Visual Studio Code and use any available tools to create this agent or update these agents. So on the other hand, Azure AI Foundry, this is a Pro Code solution. The main benefit here, it gives you access to all these great Azure AI services, for example, Azure AI Language, then documentation, processing, etc. So you have all these capabilities, but again, it's a Pro Code solution. And the last one is Windows AI Foundry. So all the platforms I mentioned above, they are cloud solutions. But there are some organizations that, hey, because of privacy, compliance, we can't push our data to cloud. Is there any way that we can build AI solutions on our device? Yes, but of course you need a specific device, like let's say Windows 11 Copilot plus PC. That comes with pre-built AI APIs, and you can basically build AI agents in your device. And it's going to be completely free of charge, and processing will happen on your device using NPU or GPU rather than using cloud. All right, so but today's topic is, of course, Microsoft Copilot Studio. Again, this is end-to-end AI platform that helps makers to design, develop, and deploy low-code AI solutions. You can connect to more than 1,400 connectors. You can connect to your different knowledge sources and make your agents autonomous. So now it's time to go ahead and showcase the Copilot Studio itself. So far, if you're curious, hey, how can I get access to it? So I'm going to paste this in the chat. You can see it if I can see. So you can't really use your personal account to sign up for Copilot Studio. So you would need to use your either work or school account. And if you're lucky, you can actually sign up for Microsoft Developer Program and get the free account and use for signing up for Copilot Studio. So once you have access to it, you can actually have a trial version and all the capabilities there, you can use it. So let's go to Copilot Studio. To create agent, this is a similar experience. Basically, if you come, you can describe what you want and you basically kickstart of agent creation experience. Or you can just simply come here, create and plus new agent. So you have two options here. You can either describe what you want and agent will craft the system instructions. And so I'm not going to build anything here because that would take a lot of time. But idea here, if I say, for example, you are an IT agent helping users get self-service. And based on my just fuzzy prompt, now Copilot takes this information and start creating the some kind of prompt instructions. And here you can see on the right corner, it also created like 6 starter prompts that the end users can use right away. So you can interact with Copilot more to get better system instructions. You can also come to configure here and name your agent, add description, improve the instructions, add knowledge, add, let's say, suggested prompts, and click create. This will create an agent for you. So it's super easy to create, but of course, to use all the capabilities, it takes a learning curve to understand all these capabilities. So I'm going to come back here and showcase the agent that we have. If you are really interested in building your first agent, I can't recommend enough to use Copilot Studio Agent Academy. Yeah, basically gives you all the great guided curriculum that you need to create your first agent. So if I come back here, I'm going to have this Contoso Help Desk agent open. So on the overview tab, what we see, I have my agent, Contoso Help Desk agent, and I give it a persona, like assist users with IT issues by prioritizing urgent requests, handling device problems, network connectivity, and login issues, and providing empathetic step-by-step guidance. And here we have orchestration. So this makes the agent act like a smart assistant, like a brain, rather than we define everything. So traditionally, you had to create the topics and add the keywords that agent would be triggered based on the user intent. But in this case, agent, based on your definition, will be able to trigger right topics. And if I scroll down, what I see here, I have instructions. So I'm saying like, this is your scope. Don't, do anything else beside these instructions that in your system. So, and you can see some examples. Always prioritize urgent IT requests and assist with device problems, network connectivity, and login issues. I can always edit this and make it better. In fact, agent creation is an iterative journey. So you basically start with the small steps, small instructions, and then you test it, verify it, and come back and improve it more. So if I scroll down, this is my enterprise knowledge. So I'm saying that all the knowledge should come from the enterprise knowledge sources. Here I have one Word document, then I have website, and I have a SharePoint site here. For example, if I ask here, I have a VPN issue. So you remember I mentioned about the orchestrator? So this is the generative orchestration. So based on the user intent, it starts looking at the knowledge sources and chooses which knowledge source has that information and generate the output. And you can see here, so I'm sorry here to you're having trouble with your VPN connection, and explain all the steps, how can I fix it? And right below, I have all these references and I can see it here. And if I scroll down, I can look at the rationale. So prior to this capability, the AI was kind of black box. It generated the output, but you are like, what was the rationale? Why you created that in this way? But here we have the rationale explaining why I generated this output. And all this coming from the basically our system instructions. We say that look at the knowledge source and extract this information. That's because of it. So, and if I look at the settings now, I've turned off use general knowledge for LLM. So each large language model trained on large set of data set. So you ask questions, it uses its own knowledge to answer you. But again, in enterprise solutions, we don't need that, because we are not interested in public data set. We want AI to help us with our own enterprise data. So that's why when you build it, you would turn this off. Also, turn off the information from the web. Like if you have a research agent, that's perfect, you can use this. But in this context, I don't want to get anything from web. I want agent to pull information from these specific sources. So I'll come back here. In the overview tab, if I want to add a new knowledge source, I can just click add a knowledge, and all these knowledge sources available. I can bring public websites, I can bring SharePoint sites, I can even drill through to SharePoint folders, files. So I can scope these knowledge sources. I can say like, hey, I don't want an entire SharePoint site. I want this specific file, I want this specific folder, etc. Also, whenever you connect these specific knowledge sources, your access permissions will be respected. So let's say if I build an agent and share with someone, if that person doesn't have access to the underlying data source, agent will not generate anything for them. So this is very important point. So respecting our data access permissions, etc. I can connect to Azure AI Search. This is very important. If you work with structured data, millions of records, you might want to connect, build basically a vector database and create indexing, and that will do the retrieval augmented generation for you. I can connect to Dataverse, Azure SQL, ServiceNow, Salesforce. If I click advanced, these are also available data sources that I can connect right away to use as a knowledge. I can also upload files from my device as well. This will be indexed in Dataverse, and it will basically stored in agent. So we don't have to basically store it somewhere else, but it's going to be static. So anytime your data is updated, you need to re-upload that. So I think it's really important having dynamic data sources if your data change constantly. So this is all about the knowledge. So you see, like you can bring all these different types of knowledge sources so that your agent can use it. If I scroll down now, I have one tool, and that tool is basically acknowledging a SharePoint ticket. So whenever I submit a ticket, this can trigger the agent saying that we received your agent. For example, if I come back here, so I have one trigger here. This is basically saying that anytime a ticket added in SharePoint, trigger email to the user saying that we received your ticket and we are working on it. So I have already added one ticket here, and I can just test it again. So I can open this test trigger, and I'll just start testing. So again, like the same kind of steps. So someone submits a ticket using our SharePoint list, and you can see agent takes that information. I need to allow and start crafting the email for our end users, whoever submitted that ticket. So hopefully it will trigger soon, but so you can see it here. Let's say someone added a ticket, and that would basically take that information and craft an email sending back, hey, this is just acknowledgement that we received your ticket and we are going to work on that. So let me come back here again. So to add a tool, if I go to tools, now I can just click add a tool. Tanya mentioned that you work on with Excel a lot. We have all these great Excel connectors here. All I need, sometimes if you don't see it here, don't worry. You just need to type. So if I type Excel, I can select any of these connectors available for me. For example, I can have agent create table. I can have agent create worksheet, get worksheets, add a row in a table, get tables, etc. All these connectors available. All I need just plug and play that. So you can just add that to your agent and start to the basic configuration, and that will be available to use. But tools are more than just connectors. So if I click new tool, I can add a prompt. So prompt is actually using large language model to process incoming inputs from tools, from people, etc. So this is very great tool. And if you're familiar with Power Apps, Power Automate, if you use these tools, this is actually AI builder. So I can build agentic flows. So this is basically deterministic flow helping to achieve a task. For example, using generative orchestration, agent decides when and why to trigger each tool, knowledge source, etc. But sometimes you want very deterministic workflow. That's where you can use the agentic flow. It's very similar to Power Automate. I can use computer use. So computer use is basically AI vision. So it's very similar to RPA. Like if you ever use like Power Automate desktop, this is similar, but you can do this in cloud as well. So this is very powerful, still in preview. You can build your own custom connector. You can use REST API. And of course, you can use Model Context Protocol or MCP. So this is a new concept and it's very interesting. Next week, I'm going to actually have a video about that. So right now, let's say we have an agent. To pull data from Excel, we need to add one connector to pull that data. But how about we want to write back to that Excel table? Now we need to add another connector. So you see like our agent now gets complex. But if you have MCP, you can create your MCP server and add all these tools there, basically connectors, and then connect to agent, and your workflow will be smoother and a lot simpler. So there are pre-built model context protocol as well. So if you look at here, so these are available, you can go ahead and use it. So this is all about tools. And if I come back to overview tab, as I mentioned earlier, your agent can be triggered by external events. So you don't have right now, like let's say I need to manually type as a user what I want to achieve, but you can configure your agent triggered by, let's say someone sends an email, there is a form submitted, etc. It's really easy. I can just add a trigger, and when you add a trigger, so same thing, if you count it all, you will see all these connectors triggers available. So meaning that, so you can have, let's say when an email is flagged, trigger the agent, and agent will look at its instructions and now start processing how you want agent to perform. So this can be anything here, like when an item is created, let's say you have a SQL server, a new record added there, that will trigger the agent, and you can send all this payload to agent to further processing. Another very important topic in agent we mentioned, it's going to be topics. So think of topics kind of like mini agents based on the user intent. Then you can basically direct them to certain topics, help them to answer their questions. Like this is one topic, available devices. So if I look at the description, this says this topic helps user find devices that are available from our SharePoint devices list. User can ask to see available devices and it will return a list of devices that are available. So here is my devices. This is just a sample data, just 4 devices available here. As a user, let me refresh this. If I come back here and I say, I need a new device, and that will trigger that specific topic, which is available device. And it asks, what type of device are you looking for? You can choose from laptop, desktop, or smartphone. So I can say laptop. And I need to allow for connection. And now you can see this is the available laptops from our SharePoint list and within the chat. So this, as you can see, it's very seamless. We have just one topic. And if the user says, I need this device, that topic will be triggered. And when it's triggered, using SharePoint list connector, it will pull that information. So let's continue looking at that topic. So let's say user asks, I need a device. This will trigger the agent. And in agent level, we have actually one input saying that whenever user says device, create a variable. And variable is just a temporary storing the user intent. Saying creating this, and I'm saying that dynamically fill is the best option. So you don't have to repeat, hey, what kind of device? If the user says laptop, just dynamically add that to this variable. And you can see list of possible values, laptop, desktop, smartphones. And based on that input, output will be in a table format, and you can see it here. So, and when the user provides that, we need to go ahead and look at the SharePoint, right? So that's where we have this connector, as I mentioned. This is the tool. I'm saying here, input. I'm connecting to my SharePoint site because that's where my list is. Select my SharePoint list. And then I just add a filter query. So if I look at here, formula, and let's make this bigger. So I'm saying concatenate. I don't want to bring all the devices there. So I'm saying that look for specifically these columns where status equals available and asset type available, whatever user wants. In this case, they wanted laptop. If they want desktop, then bring back columns or records where status available and device type will be desktop, let's say smartphone. So the same thing, if I come back here, so you can see we have status because we don't want to bring back reserved or not available devices. We want to bring back only available devices and selecting the asset type, and as you can see here. So let's go back here. And then from here, let's say it brought back, and it's basically adds this in. We have another variable stores this information. And if I ask, would you like to request one of the laptops? Let's say, and this is a global variable. Global variables means that I can pass this variable from one topic to other topic. And that's very important. And if I say yes, this will now trigger another topic. We're gonna look at that in a second, and that's called request device. And using the adaptive cards, we can request any device, because we have a 2 device right here, and I can say, let's say this one, and I can say, I need this ASAP and submit request. And thanks, Rafsan. And you selected this device and has been submitted and will be reviewed by your manager. So as soon as I submitted, that sent an email, let's say whoever is the approver, right? So hi, new device request from Rafsan Huseynov. And this is the details and deep linking here. So you can see how giving access to tools enhance agent basically capabilities to be more user-friendly and also like generate a business value. So I can come back here. Let's look at this request device, and it's waiting now because it asked me a question. Did that answer your question? If I say yes, and I can just submit it. You can customize all of this. And if you say yes, and it will actually start listening again, you can trigger. But let's go to request device, edit topic. And as you see, like here, I'm saying this topic helps users request a device when they answer yes to the question that asks the user if they would like to request one of these devices. So you see, like we have 2 topics. One, when user says, hey, what device is available? That would trigger that specific topic. And then we have another topic triggered when the user requests device. And here we have adaptive card. If I look at these properties, don't worry, like you don't have to write all of this. If you use ChatGPT or Copilot, you can actually define your business use case there and say that, hey, create adaptive card, JSON payload I can use in Copilot Studio, and that will create here. But here, so you can either use JSON or use formula. Using formula has a really good advantage because you can pass a dynamic value to your agent. For example, when the title, if it is not blank, then model and this one. So you can pass this all information into your adaptive card. So, and when the user select any of devices, there is actually action for Power Automate. So this would take the user submitted inputs and send an email to the approver. And if I look at here, so maybe let's look at the properties. So let me go to actually flows here. So you can say send a device request email. If I look at this, I go to designer. So you can actually create these flows without going to Power Automate. It's in part of Copilot Studio. And here I have one agent calls the flow, and I have all these inputs I can define here. One is device, the other one is user details and additional comments. And get device, basically this is the site, this is the list name, and this is the ID, and send an email to manager. So as soon as the user selects that, hey, I need this device, that would set this dynamic information to the agent, to the approver, and also respond back to the user saying that, so this is requested on behalf of you, and if you have any other questions. So you can see like we can have this kind of logic in our agents, and it works perfectly. So far, as you can see, we have this one agent. It retrieves information. It performs tasks on behalf of the user, for example, autonomously triggered, and it can also do the task. In this case, task was basically whenever I choose this device, send an email to approver so that they can review and submit. And from here, if I want, I can actually add other agents. So it's very important to understand this, because sometimes you might have just different use cases. Instead of building one big agent, you can build like one orchestrator agent, and you can have different agents connected to it. So if I click here, add, I can create a child agent here. This is called Foxed agents. So a live agent that lives inside your current agent. So this is going to be part of our current agent. So if I come here, I can easily create this, and during the conversation, the generative orchestration will know when it needs to trigger this. It's getting very slow, but you can also use any other agents in the same environment of your Copilot Studio agent. So you can see I can define here, this is a child agent. I can have details here. I can add instructions. I can have its own knowledge sources. Then I can add tools for it and inputs, outputs, etc. So you see, like, you are creating a modular experience. So you don't have to build this giant agent, and it's going to be very hard for agent to, understand the user intent. But if you build this modular experience, agent knows when to call each agent or tools, etc. So other part, so I'm gonna delete this. We don't need this. As I mentioned, you can connect to other agents. This needs to be in your current environment. So if I click here, so you see these are all the agents that I have in my environment. I can connect. The other thing, you can connect to agents built in Fabric. So you have a data agents, you can use connect them as well. And coming, you will be able to connect to Azure agents that built in Azure AI Foundry, as well as agents built using M365 agent toolkit. So I'm going to exit from here. So I can also see all the activity here. So this is very important during the basically testing. It's going to be very important. So if I click here, I can see agents' entire processing logic, like what happened when user asked and how it processed. And I can actually select the transcript, for example, what person asked, or like in this case, you can see this is an autonomous agent. And here is the payload, and that payload basically triggered the email, and agent sent an email. So we have also other information here, analytics. On the analytics tab, I can define, especially for autonomous agents, you can define the savings. For example, you have one agent runs 2 times every day. So let's say if a person would do this, how much time or money would take, right? Cost. So you can have this logic saying that, for example, today we run this agent 2 times. Every time it run, it saved 4 hours, and 4 hours basically helped us to save $600. Of course, you need to have a different calculation method here as well, because you need to take into consideration licensing costs, etc., and that's going to be your final saving. So here I can also see the conversation outcomes. Like let's say if I come here, I can see this agent triggered and resolved 100%, meaning that agent was able to provide answer to end user, and end user was happy. I can see the run outcomes, whether they are failed or successful. I can look at the generated answer rate and quality, see details, and you can see here agent used which data sources. So I can see agent basically used our Word file as well as Microsoft website, not necessarily the SharePoint. And the other one here, we can see the satisfaction. So this is very good experience actually, because if I come to test, every time a user interacts with the agent, they can provide feedback. In this case, if you say you are not satisfied with agent, you can give thumbs down and then provide your feedback here. I'm going to just say test. And you will be able to see these results in the analytics tab to improve your agents. So, and now let's say, by the way, you have also test cases here. now you can create or add your own test cases to test the agent. So this is a brand new capability, which I really love it, because building agent is very good and easy with Copilot Studio, but testing is far more important. And from here, you can have your test cases uploaded to agent, or you can even create some sample tests using AI and test your agents. So far, we have explained like how agent works, how you can create it, how you can add tools, how you can add generative orchestration, make generative orchestration enabled, how you can add triggers, knowledge sources, but how users can interact with the agent. So to do that, there is this capability called channels. So basically, we can build this agent and publish it to different channels. This can be demo website. This can be your Microsoft channels. Like it could be Microsoft Teams. It could be Microsoft 365 Copilot, even SharePoint. And to prove that, if I come here, so this agent, as you can see, it's published to Microsoft Teams. And it's similar. I don't want to type it again, but today I did this. Like I'm unable to connect to the office Wi-Fi. What should I do? And boom, agent creates the answer. And if I look at the citations here, I can see the knowledge source that used in this agent. If I scroll down, now I can say I need a laptop. And here is the answer. Agent pulls the SharePoint list and then brings available devices here. And if I say, yes, I want any of these devices, I can select that device and submit a request, and that will send an email. So you see, like, I can use this agent in Microsoft Teams, with an M365 Copilot, etc. But you might have like different scenarios, like publish agent to Facebook, WhatsApp, Slack, etc. These other channels will enable you to achieve that task as well. All you need, select your channel. Sometimes it's easier, for example, for Microsoft channels, it's straight away, but other channels you may need to do some configuration. The other important thing here, if we go to settings, it's going to be very important for your security, like how users would get access to agent. So you have different authentication options. So by default, it's selected authenticate with Microsoft, meaning that if user signed in using SSO, they will also be able to get access to the agent, but you can also choose an option like no authentication or authenticate manually. So the good option, I would recommend authenticate with Microsoft. So, and the generative AI capabilities here, it's worth to exploring more, because you have all these different models that you can use. And as you can see, like GPT-5 chat, GPT-5 auto, GPT-5 reasoning, and you can also bring Anthropic models here. I want to be cautious here. If you use any model other than Azure OpenAI, your data will leave your tenant. So if you have that compliance issues that no, your data needs to reside in your data and can't leave your tenant, then I would recommend using only OpenAI models. So yeah, this is the demo. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Rafsan. Yes, I have written 3 questions with question and exclamation mark. But before answering this question, one of our attendees, Niti, wanted you to show the process that is related to SharePoint. If it's okay, Niti, you can unmute yourself, ask also your question by yourself. Yes. Rafsan? Yes. Yeah. Did you find the question, or you want me to read them for you?
So Niti's question. So I see someone asking about the Copilot Academy. Yes, I'm gonna share this link with you. It's really great source. You can use it. And the other question was, let's see. Isn't he here? Share
Yes.
link.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry. Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself. Yeah. You
Yeah.
showed us the SharePoint one, how you send out the mail. Can you re-show me the steps, how you did that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So which SharePoint list you are talking about, devices or tickets?
Any one of them. The mail send part, I need to see
Oh
how
yeah.
you that.
So the mail part is actually very uh, interesting part because that's the autonomous capability. So if I come back here, so let's go to overview tab. Let me close this. Okay. So here I have this new support ticket created in SharePoint. So basically I'm saying whenever someone adds a ticket, trigger the agent. And I can go to Power Automate. The trigger backend is actually Power Automate. So in Power Automate, if you look at here, when an item is created, this is basically our SharePoint site, and this is the list. Then send a prompt to specified Copilot for processing. So you can see here, use content from, and this is concatenation. New support ticket is created in SharePoint. The body of the the trigger, use the acknowledge SharePoint ticket tool. And I'm going to show that as well. That's another configuration to generate the email body automatically and respond. Important, don't wait for any user input, work completely autonomously. So let's say this triggers the agent. Now, if I go to here, you see this acknowledge SharePoint ticket. This is the Outlook connector, basically. So if I open that, so I'm saying acknowledge SharePoint ticket. This is the name. Name is very important in agent development. So that's how generative orchestration knows when and why it should trigger the tools, knowledge sources, etc. And description. This tool sends an email acknowledgement that a ticket has been received. And here's the tool and additional details. I'm saying that ask the end user before running. I'm saying no, you don't have to wait, and use the end user credentials. This is very important for the agent development. Sometimes for testing, you may use maker provided credentials, but in production, you would use end user credentials. And inputs here, this is another beauty of AI. I'm saying two will be dynamically filled with AI. And if I come to customize, the email address of the person submitting the SharePoint ticket. So I'm saying when you generate the email response, the two part will come from the person, like whoever submitted that ticket, pull their details and use it here. Then subject line, I'm saying specify the subject of the email, and this is dynamically generated by AI, and the body will be an acknowledgement that the ticket was received and we aim to respond within 3 working days, which you can see in the email. So let me open that up. So you can see like we didn't write anything. We just let the AI decide that and respond back to the user. So this is how you can configure it again. So you would create, if you want autonomous, you would need 2 actions here. The action 1 will be creating a trigger. You can just add a trigger. Just be careful here, because to make this your agent autonomous, you need to use generative orchestration. So this needs to be toggled on. And you, after adding that, then you need to add a new tool. To add a new tool, you can just go to Tools, add a tool. And let's say in our case, we needed Outlook. And this would be, I'm going to just choose any of them, because ideally you need to choose the send email, actually. Send email. So by the way, it's not only limited to Outlook. This could be Gmail as well. So send an email. So in our case, we are using Office 365 Outlook. I can just add this. And from here, it creates a connection, and you can directly add or add and configure. Configure meaning that now you need to describe what AI agent needs to do here. So, and it's going to be very important. So as you can see here, you can change the name, description, and sometimes, the two part, you don't have to let the AI decide. Sometimes you can say, hey, I want our IT team receive that email. So you can just basically change that and make it custom, and you can add the custom email here. So it's easy. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, clear now. Thank you.
So any other questions?
Yes, Rafsan, there are 3 more questions, and after that we can close our session. So
Yeah.
first one is, how can enterprises integrate Copilot Studio agents with complex systems like Dataverse, SAP, or Service Now?
Oh, yeah. So as I mentioned, Copilot is actually enterprise-grade solution to integrate with. So again, that depends on the use cases, right? If you just want to bring data from your Dataverse, just read access, all you need, come here, knowledge, and add a knowledge, and select Dataverse. And from here, you can select the table. And let's say, I'm going to select this table, let's say, right? So I can just preview what data I have here. Let's come back. And if I select add agent, and from here, I can define the synonyms and anything I want. So as you know, Dataverse is also part of Microsoft Power Platform. And of course, there is a native integration here. But this is only read access. To make it like fully functioning CRUD operation, so you would come here, add a tool, like what do you want to achieve with Dataverse? So you can just look at Dataverse. Like in this case, you can say upload a file or an image. So these are individual connectors you can configure. Like let's say, not only bring back data from Dataverse, but also add a record, delete a record, modify a record. So you have all this, like anything you would do in Power Automate, you could basically do here, but using natural language. On the other hand, so there are also available ServiceNow connectors here. So get a record, delete a record, create a record, update a record, etc. So you can use either connectors to perform the tasks, or if you want, you can add it as a knowledge. So add a knowledge. And if you come to advanced, so you can actually, I think it's in the future. Yeah, ServiceNow. So you can connect to ServiceNow as well. Any other questions?
Yeah, last but not least, the next question is related to potential data privacy and compliance. So yeah,
that's a very interesting question. The Copilot Studio actually leverages all the built-in Microsoft compliance, security, privacy. So when you build agent, as I mentioned, let's say you have a knowledge source or database connected to this agent. If your end users, they don't have access to the underlying data source, Copilot will not generate any information for them, period. But you can take this to more to the next level. Let's say creating DLP policies. That's the admin side of work, right? So DLP policy would block certain connectors. Let's say if you build agent, we can't publish it to Facebook. That's a DLP policy that your admin would configure in Power Platform Admin Center using data policies. And you can also create a purview policies. You can see all these interactions. So like, I'm not selling anything, but I'm saying Copilot Studio is very secure solution. But again, you need to configure certain like connectors, policies to make sure. By default, like most of things available. So as a maker or developer, you need to understand these concepts and build it around your use case.
I hope we came to the end of our session. I hope you enjoyed this session. And if you want to find, I mean, to watch the session again, you can do it just on our YouTube. And also, you can find the necessary info about upcoming sessions, upcoming meetups on our meetup.com. So, with your permission, I'm just going to say stop recording and also stop lively streaming.